Hello there. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga show with your host, Agostino Zinga. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Great, amazing. How am I? You know how it is. Hanging on there, hanging in there, hanging on there for dear absolute life. But I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving every minute of it, and I hope you're loving it too. Today we've got a jam-packed show of cultural commentary, regardless. Hope you are here to enjoy. Because we've got a good show for you today. Live? What's going on right now? Bear me a second. Am I live today? Am I live right now? I am, right? Am I live? Yes. Okay, we're live. Cool, we're live. Ready to rock. Sorry about that. I thought I did something wrong on my live streaming setup, but we're ready to rock and we're ready to roll. Loads of topics to jump into today. Jam-packed cultural commentary show today. I'm hydrated. My hair is washed. My face is covered in Korean skincare products. I've looked legitimately like I popped my head in a fucking tub. Or, you know, like how that guy does, Ashton Hall. You know how Ashton Hall has a bowl of ice cubes and water? Well, I have a bowl of Vaseline, liquid Vaseline, that I dunk my face into. So, in case you're not watching this right now, I'm shiny, I'm blood clot. Let's freaking go. First thing to mention is the new Cardi B album. Have you guys heard the new Cardi B album? Have you guys seen the new Cardi B album? Have you guys heard the new Cardi B album? Well, I have. And let me tell you, it's not that great. But is it as bad as she made it seem as with her like 6 to 7 year wait in between albums? I don't think so. I personally think if she would have dropped this soon after Invasion of Privacy, it would have been fine, because I feel like a lot of these records on the songs anyway were recorded a long time ago. So if she would have waited, if she would have not waited and actually dropped this album sooner, I think the conversation around Cardi B was a lot different. But the fact that she waited as much as she did, the fact that a bunch of other female rappers have popped up and have kind of, I would say, taken her space, but there's way more competition now. And I think the increase in competition has reminded us just how mediocre Cardi B is as a rapper and an artist, you know? That's a problem that she has now. I think the whole like IG baddie turned rapper thing isn't enough anymore. You have to bring a level of artistry, a level of craft, a level of ingenuity, a level of creativity that most people don't really have, unless you're really a musician, unless you really love this music shit, unless you're really a rapper. So she doesn't have that, which is not a problem. I don't say it as a slight. I think it's a good thing that she has her lane. Her lane is what she does. But unfortunately, she's going to be compared to others. And that may be, to think about it actually, now that I've just said it aloud, that may be the reason why she did take such a long break in between. Obviously, she's had a bunch of kids, she got married, blah, blah, blah. But in the time that, you know, in between, she's basically got married, got divorced, had kids, blah, blah, blah. But I wonder if the reason why she didn't drop in the first place after A Vision of Privacy, her second album, maybe was because she knew deep down that she didn't really have what it takes to actually follow up that second album. So instead of dropping that first album, instead of dropping the second album after the first album that was widely received as a great one, that also won a Grammy, deserve it or not, it won the Grammy, there was probably a danger that people would jump to comparing whatever album she put out second to Invasion of Privacy. Whereas I feel like now, because so much time has elapsed, even though us the fans still care about why she didn't release, I think most of the general public don't, you know? Even though us fans care, I think most of the general public don't. So she kind of got away with it. For lack of a better term, she kind of got away with it if you're reading it that way. I don't really say think it's the best thing to do, but she kind of got away with it. Now, onto the album. The good parts about it. The good parts, let's start with the good. What did I enjoy from Cardi B's Am I Drama sophomore album, right? This is what I enjoyed. Let me show you here. What did I enjoy? I enjoyed all the features with Summer Walker. Basically, all the women features, apart from Lizzo, were banging. Lourdes, Summer Walker, Kehlani. I thought she melded and blended with those artists really, 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 really well. What I also like, I like that I think her and Kehlani complement each other really well sonically. I think there's a good match there. Maybe also there's a good match with Summer Walker in terms of the content they make. In terms of the content they talk about in their music, about, you know, guys being nothing, guys being dogs, broken-hearted, wanting to find love, blah blah blah, almost being like a hopeless romantic type of thing, getting betrayed and stepped over and taken advantage of, getting your lick back, body is tea, all this sort of stuff. I think her and Summer Walker blend really well. I didn't mind the song with Cash Cobain. I thought that was pretty good. I didn't really mind the song of Bodega Baddie, although it kind of sounded very repetitive and it got very annoying. I think Bodega Baddie will get the girls with the batty swinging it left and right, and I think girls are just gonna like it in general. I think it's a song that you could definitely picture getting girls turned up in a club. They're definitely gonna enjoy screaming Bodega Baddie, especially in a place like New York where there are bodegas and shit, I imagine. What else did I enjoy? I also enjoyed the Tyler track. I like that it wasn't Afro beats, I'm not going to lie. I like that the Tyler track wasn't Afro beats, wasn't Afro house, wasn't Amapiano, wasn't anything along those lines. It was just Tyler doing her thing, which is what? Singing, rapping type of thing on there, which is also pretty cool. I'd love to hear a record where Tyler, quote unquote, raps more. I think that would be pretty sick. And that was it in terms of what I liked. Right? In terms of what I liked. I kind of picked up what I liked. What I didn't like about the album. Number one, let's start off with the album cover. I think the album cover is awful. I think the album cover is terrible, personally. The album cover, for me, makes no sense relating to the album. It's her dressed in this amazing, like, red gown, this red kind of frock thing with no bottom, with fishnet tights and really high heels, like platform heels, and then she's lying on the floor surrounded by a bunch of black crows. I don't get it. It doesn't work for me. If you're gonna do an album called Am I Drama, I would imagine there'll be a dramatic aspect to the cover, maybe kind of poking fun at the paparazzi, maybe poking fun at the blog pages and shit that dissect your life, maybe poking fun at some award ceremony thing, poking fun at what, you know, some self-deprecating thing, whatever. But I didn't think this particular album cover made sense when it relates to the album. So the album cover I didn't like. The second thing I also didn't like was the album title. Am I Drama? I think drama alone would have worked better. Just a singular word, drama, would have worked better. Or even drama with a question mark. I think would have banged, would have made a real noise, would have been very kind of like, you know, would have been very arresting. Would have kind of grabbed your attention more so than Am I Drama. Plus, grammatically, it doesn't make any sense. I'm sure she's kind of playing on the fact that she talks this way, right? Because Cardi B's got this thing where she's kind of proud of not being able to talk properly. She's kind of proud of being or sounding illiterate, sounding unintelligent, and maybe that kind of plays on it. Me personally, I don't like it. I think, you know, when you put your art out there, you should probably try and put your best foot forward. You should always try and improve. And, you know, once I get into the topics of the track listing, I feel like there hasn't really been much growth, you know? There hasn't really been much growth, I don't feel like, with Cardi B's artistry or her as a person. I feel like she's exactly the same person when she popped up in the beginning. And you know what I got as well from the album? What I kind of thought about when listening to the tracks. It kind of occurred to me, right? You know, Cardi B is just a more successful Kreayshawn. Especially when you think about all the drama, you think about her toxic personality, you know? Like, she really is just a more successful version of Kreayshawn. If you think about it. It sounds weird, but I swear she is. She's just a more successful version of Kreayshawn. Anyways, continue. Oh, by the way, one other small point I liked about the album. I personally think, where's the track? There's a track on here. Which one is it? It might be Magnet or Salute. Maybe it's Magnet or Salute. Basically, I was going to say, when Cardi B raps, I think she's awful most of the time. Right? Imaginary Players, that song with Lizzo, some of the lyrics are horrendous. But I think Cardi B's really good and she's got a great pocket when she does that like Migos flow. But you know, when she does that Migos flow, when she does whatever flow she's got on Magnet, whatever flow she's got on Salute, I think she skips over those beats really fucking well. Yes, there may be writers involved, but I think in terms of her enunciation, her diction, I feel like she smashes it on Magnet and Salute. I think she's really fucking good on those particular 2 tracks, you know? But I think the others, where she's rapping conventionally or trying to rap properly like Imaginary Players and fucking the Lizzo track, oh, god awful, god awful, god fucking awful. Oh, I also enjoyed, and that'll be my, I'm flipping through between what I enjoyed and what I didn't like. You know, a track that I really enjoyed, I thought was amazing. The Selena Gomez track, Pick It Up. I don't know where the fuck she got that track from. I don't know how she's able to get in that pocket, but that song with Selena Gomez is a hit. By the way, who is her A&R? Who is on Cardi B's team? Why the fuck did Imaginary Players come out as a fucking single? That song is terrible compared to the others. There's like, in my opinion, I think there's at least 5 songs on this album that weren't released as singles that would work better as singles. At least 5, right? Let me actually go on my Apple Music and see which singles came out from that album. From this album we have now. The singles that came out, let's see. Oh, Jesus Christ. Really? Huh. Hold on, let me see. The singles, where are the singles here? Really? There's no singles. What's Up, Outside. So according to Google Music, Apple Music, it says the singles for Am I Drama were Outside, What's Going On, Shower Tears, Safe, Principal, Pick It Up, On My Back, Nice Guy. Okay. Well, anyway, I remember Imaginary Players being the single because that came with a music video, right? Let me just quickly go on her YouTube. Let me see if I can grab the singles on there. But the way they listen to Apple Music doesn't make any sense. So let me quickly go. Let me scroll down. What does it say here? Cardi B on YouTube. You got Cardi B channel. Cool. If I go on videos and I go past a year, go back up, it says Am I Drama out. Okay, yeah, Imaginary Players was a single, and that was it, right? And Dead maybe, but I honestly think that the song with Selena Gomez should have been a single. One of the songs with Summer Walker should have been a single before Imaginary Players. The song with Kalani should have been a single before Imaginary Players. I'd go as far as saying even a song with Cash Cobain could have been a potential fucking single, in my opinion. But again, what do I know? And then continuing on, right? The song with Lizzo. The song with Lizzo. I don't think I've heard a worse rapped song in my entire life. This might be it might contain some of the worst verses I've heard in my entire fucking life. What's going on? He stopped calling. Wasn't waking up to me in the morning. No vacay, shit got boring. How you treat a bitch like me normal. Ain't going, I was getting impatient. Patient. He dragging, I ain't racing. He stopped sharing his location. I wonder why he got short conversation. Huh? What happened? We not laughing. Not laughing. Stop grabbing my ass when he passing. Passing. Wasn't mentally there, just asking. Just asking. Anniversary gift started lacking. Lacking. What's going on? I ain't never knew you. Knew you. Didn't think about giving up too soon. Too soon. And when I open my mouth, it's truthful. Niggas wasn't eating this pussy like he used to. And then Lizzo as well. I don't know what the fuck Lizzo was doing on that track, bro. I don't know what the fuck she was doing there. She could have just, I think this track without Lizzo, maybe Esna's bad, but oh my God, right? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, I told his ass, be careful with me, huh? What's going on? I guess he thought I wouldn't practice what I preach, huh? And I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I said, hey, I let shit slide so many times that shit got comfortable. What's going on? Shit almost tore a bitch down. See, that's what love do. That's what love could do. Cardi B's second verse. Seems like every day a new lie, right? You fuck everything with two eyes. Facts. How can you treat me like I ain't shit? How? Nigga, on our wedding day, you cried. You cried. You wrote down some beautiful vows and then gave my first beautiful child and then told me you was quiet for all these hoes. Come to find you the one loud, huh? Still I stay. I don't regret it. Still ain't cheat, no. I ain't get credit, huh? Again, credit for not cheating. I don't understand, like, just trashy content. Like, why should somebody give you credit for not cheating on somebody? I understand getting your heart broken. I understand getting cheated on and maybe feeling like you want revenge, but you don't get credit for not cheating. I'm sorry. It's like getting credit for like raising your child. It's like black guys in America, like, oh yeah, I'm in my son's life. I'm an active father. What do you mean? What's the opposite of that? As if being an inactive father is an option. What do you mean? I'm an active father. Do you want a pat on the back because you're looking after your son? What the fuck is this about? It continues. I stood on shit like, yeah, I said it. You don't like that I moved on and hate that for you. Telling yourself that I ain't that loyal. Finding a N-word that loved me more than you did is what I call payback for you, for real. Huh? Payback. Anyway, we're gonna get into that another time, but like that tune in particular might be one of the worst rap songs I've heard in my entire life. Legit. Might be one of the worst songs I've heard in my entire freaking life. I can feel it in the air when I step outside. I listen to my heart and I don't regret it. Got me feeling just like peculiar. Yeah, I told you I would put up with you one last time, but then you did some too much and you crossed the line. Now I scream for the top of my lungs, the fuck is going on? And I said, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. I said, hey, I told his ass, be careful with me, huh? What's going on? I guess he thought I wouldn't practice what I preach, huh? I said, hey, yeah. Uh-huh. Hey, yeah. I said, hey, I let shit slide so many times that he got comfortable. Yeah. The fuck is going on? What's going on? Shit almost tore a bitch down. See what that love could do. Honestly, one of the worst songs I've heard in my entire life. Really legit, one of the worst things I've ever fucking heard. But it doesn't, it gets a little bit better after that. I think the song with Summer Walker is pretty decent. I think also the song Outside again makes no sense because she's not really outside, is she? She's basically pregnant now with Stefon Diggs' child. She kind of bounced from one, relationship quickly to another, which again, I feel like doesn't make sense when you've already got 3 kids, but, she might just be one of those people that just loves being in relationships and shit. So congrats to her. Hopefully she has a great and smooth birth. But yeah, man, the rest of it is okay. I'd say in terms of sequencing, in terms of track length or album length, I don't think you need to have 24 Cardi B tracks. I don't think you need 24 Cardi B tracks, especially when fucking 2 of them, Up and WAP, for the most part, are like, I think even Doing Too Much, right? When did Doing Too Much come out? I'm pretty sure most of these tracks were released like ages ago. No, I think it's Doing Too Much. Yeah, that's the one. I think it's the other 2. I think it's WAP and Up are the 2 tracks that were released time ago. Putting WAP with fucking Megan Thee Stallion on the album is shameless, man. Shameless. And again, I don't blame her too much. I blame maybe our record label. Everyone wants to get #1 album. Everyone wants to get records and plaques and stuff and awards. But I think putting Wet Ass Pussy on that album, which is like 3 years old, that song, I think WAP, right? When did WAP originally come out? I think when did WAP come out? Let's see, what did Google say? With 2023? When did WAP come out? WAP released in 2020. Oh my God. 2020. Nah, that's incredible. I get it because she put on the album because she hasn't had an album since, right? So technically that counts as a single because she didn't have put an album that entire time. But putting out a 4-year-old song on your album to game the system in terms of streams and stuff, that is flagrant. That is so fucking flagrant. Honestly, so fucking flagrant. 2020, you know? It says on Google that WAP came out on August 7th, 2020. That is crazy, bro. Crazy. But overall, I did enjoy it. I just think sequencing it could have been worked on. I think even the beginning, I think the first track was a bit weird. As a starter, I wouldn't have started there. I think the content of the album essentially talking about how much Offset broke her heart and cheating, calling out other females was a little bit lame. I would have made it, if it was me, in terms of a concept, Am I Drama could have been more of a celebration of who you are, talking about what you do, being unapologetic yourself, as opposed to calling out other people, you know? Making a moment all about you would have worked better, I think, for her than making it all about those other girls. But the girl rap scene industry is very complicated and weird. Everyone's jostling for position. None of my business. It's too girly for me. It's too much of women's business in general. I'll leave them to it. But the album was very, very, very disappointing considering the weight. But in terms of a project follow-up, was it as bad as everyone's making it out to be? No. Or as bad as everyone was making it out, it would be maybe? No. It ended up not being that bad. But I still think it was incredibly underwhelming compared to Invasion of Privacy. And if you listen to them back to back, you wouldn't believe it's the same artist, you know? So yeah. Big up Cardi B regardless. Big up Blood Clot Cardi B regardless. Talking about interesting stories. Have you guys seen this? Marc Maron, I guess, finally responded, or finally kind of let us know his thoughts on the very controversial Riyadh Comedy Festival, which already has claimed one comedian's life in terms of Tim Dillon. I'm sure some of you have heard that Tim Dillon got fired from the Riyadh Comedy Festival for some of his comments pertaining to the Saudi government and shit that they didn't like. I think he mentioned on his podcast, like, the comment that they actually didn't like. What was it again? Was it I think it was maybe it was they took offense to the morning prayer, but I think it was something weird. It was something random. It wasn't, maybe it was to do with the passports and the slaves, but it wasn't anything to do with him saying he wants to witness a fucking hand chopping off or something ceremony. Either way, a lot of comedians have been getting called out for it. Primarily people like Pete Davidson, whose father passed away in 9/11, and people are basically saying if you agree or think about the conspiracy theory linking in Saudi Arabia allegedly to 9/11, it seemed very odd that, you know, Pete Davidson will be performing in a country that probably, or for a government that most likely approved the assassination, or not approved, said approved the fucking attack on on the Twin Towers back in the day. So people are questioning that. People are questioning the principles and morals of most comedians and but we haven't heard from Marc Maron. And Marc Maron usually has very, very strong and interesting opinions regarding the Riyadh Comedy Festival. And this clip, I think, doesn't disappoint. This clip does not disappoint in terms of Marc Maron letting us know exactly where he stands when it comes to the Riyadh Comedy Festival.
Well, there's a Riyadh Comedy Festival. I don't know if you heard about that. This is true. There's a Riyadh, Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. I mean, how do you even promote that? You know, like, from the folks that brought you 9/11, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. I mean, the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid that guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase. But don't let that stop the yucks. It's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, I was not asked to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so it's kind of easy for me to take the high road on this one. Easy to maintain your integrity when no one's offering to buy it out, you know?
Exactly. And I think that's a great point he makes at the end, right? A great point he makes at the end. And it made me think in general about the point that Tim Dillon also made, where he said you always have to have a price that you have to look the other way. And I think this is one of those examples, because everyone has a price. I think I don't have a price, though. I think I'm special. I think I'm unique in that way. I think I'm the type of person who's very anti going against my principles and morals, and no matter how much someone money they'd offer me, I wouldn't take it. In the same way that I think I would I'm like self-sabotaging in the way that if I don't get along with somebody, like if I don't like somebody, but they offer me an opportunity, I will still say no out of principle of not liking that person. Like, nah, you're a dickhead, I don't want to work with you, you know? As opposed to what most people would do, which is collect the bag, which is take the opportunity, make good of that opportunity to progress their life and their career. Whereas me, if I don't fuck with something or somebody, if it goes against everything I stand for, I won't do it just for the principle of not doing it, which is obviously a dumb way to look at life. But we all have our ways. But I also think as well, I'm saying this from a point of never really being tested. Because it's almost like, you know, well, I've made this point before, but it's almost along the same vein of why I'm a big hater of like hypothetical questions. You know type of question someone says in the fucking afters or when you're out for dinner with friends. Oh, if somebody offered you 10 grand, would you eat a plate of shit? That type of stuff, right? Or would you kiss your mom for $1 million on the lips? You know, that sort of, I don't know, whatever. And usually people have very strong opinions when it comes to those hypothetical scenarios. But the reason why I don't like them is because they're not real. Because yes, you could say, you know, yes, the most homophobic guy in the world could say, oh, I would never suck somebody's wee-wee for any money whatsoever. But the conversation gets very different when that money's right in front of you. When that money is right in front of you in cash, in a duffel bag, in a briefcase, and they say, hey, here's the money, here's the person, jack him off, suck him off, it gets very difficult. It gets very interesting, it gets very dicey. It gets very, you know, all over the place. So everyone's got an answer. Everyone's got principles and morals when they're not put in that position to get tested. But when it gets tested, it's different. And as much as I rag on these stand-up comedians, right, for taking the money to perform for the Saudi government, just more so because it's obviously an attempt to whitewash their crimes. They're not doing these comedy festivals or they do other dance music festivals. They're not doing them because they love comedy. They're doing these things to purposely try. Did it probably go? Can you hear me? They're doing this to purposely try. Did it go? What happened there? Oh, there. Cool. My bad. Sorry. What happened there? Oh, for fuck's sake. The power on my fucking thing went out. Apologies there. My plug on my socket. Oh, one sec. The light. My background light went off. Okay, there we go. We're back now. Background light went off. ADHD and autism got activated. Had to make sure it was back where it needs to be. So, yeah, like I was saying, they're not doing these type of things because they love the culture. They're not doing these type of things because they want to fucking laugh and smile. They're doing it clearly to try and whitewash their reputation for all the things that they've kind of been accused of as a government. Jamal Khashoggi situation comes up there. But I also have sympathy and empathy for these stand-up comedians because I think to myself, a lot of these stand-up comedians, right? A lot of these stand-up comedians are grown men, middle-aged men with families. Some of them are just starting their families. Mark Norman being a good example of it. Just recently had a kid, recently got married. Bills, you know, money, bills, expenses. Most of these people are probably holding down an entire household. Maybe looking after extended family members and shit. Siblings, close friends. They got payroll. So it is what it is. When a kid gets involved in stuff, you know, suddenly those things go out the window. And something I've heard from many men that I've kind of listened to on podcasts and shit and YouTube videos and other bits of content who get, you know, who recently have kids, especially late in life, they all say there's nothing like a lock-in. There's no lock-in that compares to having a child. Every guy says that. Even the most irresponsible man out there says there's no way, there's no lock-in greater than when you have a child. Because the only thing that you care about is that child. The only thing that you care about is making that child's life amazing and, you know, providing for it in any way, circumstance, in every possible way. So if somebody gives you an opportunity to make, like Tim Dillon said, 375,000 for an hour set, I don't blame you for taking it. If you've got a child and you've got a wife and a family and shit, I don't blame you for trying to make sure that you look after your family, pay the bills, cover rent for the next year, cover your mortgage for maybe the next year, maybe put a down payment on the house, maybe take that money to put into a trust for your kid, for their college education, whatever you're going to do with that money. If you're going to blow it all on fucking coke and strippers, you have the right to do so if you have a family and you want to take that option on. The only thing that's weird about that Riyadh Comedy Festival, like I mentioned previously in the past, was that a lot of these stand-up comedians, much like the Playgrave DJs who were playing during the height of COVID lockdown in third world countries and not even taking a break, was that the top ones are the ones that are getting these gigs. These gigs aren't going to like the middle tier ones or the mid-tier comedians. It's going to the top tier comedians who probably, in my opinion, again, not to count people's pockets, but you'd imagine the top tier comedians, 375,000 isn't going to change Tim Dillon's life. You know, let's be fair. 375,000 isn't going to change Tim's life. But if you're a mid-tier comedian, it will. So I've always wondered that side of things. Why do these stand-up comedians that earn the most don't also never seems to be able to turn down an offer? You know, the ones that earn the most can never turn down an offer. They take up all fucking offers, but the ones who kind of need the offers never get them. You know, that's the only bad bit about it. But I understand what Mark Norman said there. Very self-deprecating, very honest. That's why we love Mark Norman. That's why we like Marc Maron. Sorry, not Mark Norman. That's why we like Marc Maron. Talking about loving Marc Maron, though, according to this clip, courtesy of the JRE, it looks like Marc Maron tucked his tail. It looked like Marc Maron pussied up when Joe Rogan stepped to him and asked him, Wagwan. It seems like Joe Rogan bumped into Marc Maron, maybe at the fucking Comedy Mothership, maybe at some other club there in Austin, Texas, maybe somewhere in LA at the Comedy Store. But it seems like Marc Maron bumped into Joe, they had a chat, and Marc Maron essentially, you know, waved the white flag, which is very disappointing considering how hard he was going in on Rogan, how hard he was going in on the Austin comedy scene, how hard he was going in on Rogan's fucking lapdogs and then over 250 comedians and industry in general. It's kind of sad to see that he kind of tucked tail as soon as Joe approached him and confronted him. But I guess it is what it is.
Do you know how crazy that is? That what works at the Comedy Store also works at the White House? Just talk to him. How many times do you have like a little beef with a comedian, you get in front of him and you have a conversation with him, and then 20 minutes later, Marc Maron, 20 minutes later, you're hugging each other? Right, because most people in person are cool. Yeah. But you get lost in whatever the fuck is in your head. You're arguing with yourself.
I'm not gonna lie, right? Joe's a better man than me because I'd feel away when it comes to Andrew Santino. If I'm Joe Rogan, I'd feel away when it comes to Andrew Santino. Him having Marc Maron on Bad Friends, them purposely asking Marc Maron question about the industry and the scene that they know will get him triggered, will get him upset, will get him angry, so much so that he would eventually crash out on Joe Rogan, one of their best friends. I don't like that. I don't like that. I really, 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 really don't like that. You know? I feel that's really kind of effed up. If I'm your friend. Yes, I get they can't control, they couldn't anticipate what Marc Maron would say, but I didn't like that. And you did see a little bit of regret because I think on the actual episode Marc Maron was on, when it comes to Bad Friends, I'm pretty sure his face isn't even featured on the thumbnail. They removed his face from the thumbnail. I think he's on the title still, but he's not on the thumbnail. So they went out of his way to not put him up there, even though they clipped up the clips and put him up there and shared them to the world. That made everyone realize what Marc Maron was saying about Joe. I think if I was Joe, I'd feel a little bit away when it comes to fucking Andrew Santino. But on what he said regarding Marc Maron, I think in most cases in life, it is true. If you do have a personal spat with somebody, all it takes is one phone call. All it takes is one conversation to really dead the beef. Let's be fair. That's all it takes. But in my experience, because I have pride and because I have an ego, that would never happen unless I really feel like I'm in the wrong. You know, I will purposely avoid any communication because I don't want anyone to kind of cop please or change their mind. It's like, no. Even though what you said was in the heat of the moment, what you said is what you said, and it's up until forever, you know? But I'm also not the kind of person who would go out of his way to piss off somebody like that in the first place anyway. You know, I'm not that person that's gonna go out their way to have an enemy like Marc Maron that Joe Rogan kind of created because of his personality, because of his fucking, you know, sycophants, because of his kind of cult that kind of orbits around him. I'm not the kind of guy anyway in the first place, so I think it's kind of different in that regard. But big up Joe for at least confronting Marc Maron, having a conversation. I think when it comes to Marc Maron, like I said when I originally covered some of the stuff on the Random Show, check out the Random Show, by the way. Link, you can find it in the link tree down below. You can find a link to my Random Show channel on the link tree down below, where I kind of expand a little bit more on these comedy topics and other random kind of, you know, news topics as well. You can also find it at the Random Show if you just type that into the YouTube and shit. But anyway, regardless, right? One thing that I realized when I was analyzing this kind of issue, or when I was analyzing the situation at first, when it kind of came up, was that I got the feeling originally when Marc Maron was first going at all these Austin stand-up comedians, my initial reaction was this: he's trying to get involved. That was my original reaction before any match was put on. It just felt like to me he wanted to get involved. That was it. Simple as that. So although he was calling out Rogan, calling out the Comedy Store, calling out the Mothership, I think deep down he misses the fact that he can't hang, because I think he's created enemies. And if you create enemies with someone like a Joe Rogan, who is beloved, then unfortunately all the other guys in there are going to go out of their way to not, you know, talk to you or avoid eye contact, because they don't want to, you know, go against the guy, you know, essentially. That is basically it. They also want to be in the in-group. So I wonder. But big up Marc Maron at least for saying it, and big up Joe for confronting him IRL. Another one clip that was really frustrating was this clip again from Andrew Santino's appearance, where Joe talks about the need for Social Security, which if you're an American is going to be infuriating, considering the person he voted for and considering what that person he voted for did in the first few weeks of his government. It's going to leave you fucking furious. But anyway, here's the clip of Erica Kirk coming up on stage. No, Erica Kirk. Joe Rogan, talking a little bit about the situation.
I think you need a social safety net. And there's a lot of people who don't think that. But when I was a kid, my family was on welfare. We were poor. Like, it helps you. It helps people eat, man. Like, this is, you're talking literally about people that could go hungry in the United States of America, which is step one to fix.
Right.
Like, it doesn't mean that you're going to divide everybody's money amongst everybody else and it's going to be... No. You got to have some social safety net. You have to have food. You have to have housing. You should have education. All of it should be free. College level education. Why the fuck do you go broke getting educated? Do we not want people to make... If we're going to subsidize anything in this country, wouldn't we subsidize education?
And the funny thing is, as somebody else pointed out on social, the person he voted for was always against stuff like Social Security. And then obviously in this second term, first term sort of thing, when he got into power, he got fucking Elon Musk to essentially do an audit on Social Security, because Elon Musk has notoriously been a guy who's never been a fan of Social Security as well. So I love how Rogan has no self-awareness that some of the change, some of the, you know, the stuff that he's been platforming on his podcast, the vote, you know, the endorsements have led to this situation. He has no understanding of it whatsoever. He's saying we need a social... It's like, brother, you've played a part in, you know, removing that Social Security, in removing that safety net for a lot of Americans because of who you voted for, what benefited you and not what country and all this malarkey. It's kind of sad. I'm not going to lie. It really is kind of sad. But I think that clip there is representation of where Rogan is as a person and how much he's changed over the years for the worst. How much he's changed, unfortunately, in my opinion, for the worst. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nada. Talking about what do I know, look at my hair, look at my face, look at my beard. As you can tell, I haven't had a haircut in a long freaking time. And I'm actually wondering, I'm actually in two minds whether or not I should get my hair braided, how long I should keep it braided for, or if I should just start again and shave my head down. Because I'm fed up with the maintenance. I'm fed up with the maintenance of my hair. And I'm figuring maybe I should just shave my head down, get rid of the whole top bit, and just have regular fucking hair on the top. And get a regular skin fade. Because this hairstyle is so annoying, so frustrating, such a fucking hassle to deal with. But one thing I also don't do enough of nowadays is cut my own hair, which I used to do. Not the greatest, but I did used to cut my own hair because usually the style that I go for is just like a skin fade on the sides, which usually isn't that difficult to do. It gets a bit dicey towards the back, but for the most part, doing a high taper skin fade running across the back of your head running across the side of your head, shouldn't be too difficult to do. And obviously trimming up the beard. And I'm thinking of getting back into it. And then I saw this clip on social featuring Micah Richards talking about this very same issue that I've been having as well when it comes to fucking getting your hair cut. Let's play this.
What's the most you've cut?
I think
in a week?
We've definitely done 3 times.
How many done 4?
I have to start teaching you how to trim, mate. And have some customers for you.
So Micah Richards is learning how to cut his own hair or cut hair for people, right? Obviously it's a little sponsored thing, but God almighty, cutting hair is so fucking hard. You gain so much respect, so much appreciation, so much admiration for your barbers when you take your own clippers to your own head and try and cut your own hair. I know it did for me. When I first took a clipper to my head and tried to cut my own hair, I gained so much appreciation, so much understanding for my fucking barber because it's so fucking hard. It is so fucking hard to do. People don't understand how difficult it is, especially if you're gonna done it right. If you just want to do what I used to do right, which was essentially just cutting the sides in a way, you know what I mean? Not really giving a fuck, then you could obviously do it. But if you really want to cut your hair properly and you want to have it styled and look a certain way, woo! It's not easy, bro. It's not fucking easy. The thing that I really struggled with was the cutthroat. That was the thing I struggled with the most. When I first got my first cutthroat and I tried to fucking trim the edges and give myself a shape up and line up my beard, having the cutthroat in my hand and trying to do it, like everything inside of me was telling me that not to cut myself, not to accidentally slip and then slice my neck in some, like I'm fucking top 5 or something, and then sit there on the floor or lie there on the floor bleeding out like in a movie, right? So I got really fucking worried, but Jesus Christ, man, it's so hard. Even with those mirrors that they sell, that fucking mirror that you're meant to put in the back of your head and all that shit, it's so difficult. It's still really difficult to do. So I admire anyone. I truly admire anyone who's out there cutting their own hair because that shit ain't easy. I tell you this now, that shit ain't freaking easy. And then on top of that, forget guys. It's hard for guys, right? I said before that I have this like love-hate relationship with getting a haircut in the UK, especially in London, because there's such a disparity in terms of quality when it comes to barbers. There are some barbers that you go to that are amazing, some barbers that you go to that are fucking horrible. It's just all over the place, right? It's really fucking horrible. But in my experience, I think the amazing ones are 10 a penny. Oh, not 10 a penny. They're rare to find, in my opinion. Amazing barbers in London are kind of hard to find. People gatekeep some of the best barbers. So you really have to fight. You really have to dig. You really have to research and find out the good ones. I have a really good one that I go to called F for Fade out there in Ealing Broadway. I recommend you check that out as well if you're somebody that has the same hair that I do or that just likes to get cut in the same sort of styles. I recommend you check out F for Fade. F the letter, for the number, Fade, all one word, on Instagram. They're one of the best barbers I've ever been to. The guys there are usually fucking amazing. I usually get my hair cut by a guy called Franklin, who's the owner of the place. I think he's got 2 spots now in London, and they're fucking amazing. But it's like an hour away from where I live, right? So it's a bit far in terms of a journey time. But I still go from time to time. But if it's hard for guys, right? Imagine it's being difficult to get a barber, to get a good one, especially, you know, for someone like myself, because I watch a lot of US-based hip-hop content, right? Let's just say. So I'm seeing a lot of black and brown people online who have incredible haircuts. Haircuts look like they come out of fucking computer, right? Haircuts look like they come out of fucking Photoshop. Crazy fades, crazy tapers, crazy lineups, just crazy. So because of that, I can't now unsee that. So I have to get a certain level of a barber. But I was thinking to myself earlier on today, before I saw this article from the BBC, if it's hard for dudes, it must be 10 times harder for women. Because I'm influenced a lot by the US culture in terms of haircuts and stuff. And that's the kind of standard level that I kind of want. So could you imagine if you're a black girl living in the UK and you consume a lot of US content too, and you're seeing the black and brown girls out there in the US and how they look, how nice their natural hair is, how nice their braids are, how nice their fucking wigs are, how nice their fucking weaves are, all that fucking shit, makeup, everything. It must be fucking so hard. And according to this BBC article, it is. And now it's requiring women to travel hours to get afro care due to lack of salon and options. It's courtesy of the BBC. Really fucking crazy article here. It says as follows. Women are traveling across the UK to get their afro hair cared for due to a lack of salons able to do it, a BBC investigation found. They travel up to 8 hours just to see me, and they come and see me every 4 months, says hairdresser Chantel Daly. There are many similar situations that our investigation found. Only a third of colleges offering hairdressing courses are teaching students how to care for afro hair. 4 years later, they are told. 4 years later, after they were all told they 4 years after they were told they all should. Sorry, my bad. It continues here. Bada bing, bada boom. The Hair and Beauty Industry Authority, Habiba, updated their standards in 21 and said all hairdressers should be trained to work with afro-textured hair. This structure tends to make it naturally drier, delicate, and prone to damage. We contacted 259 colleges across the UK to ask if they taught an inclusive curriculum, which included afro hair care, and of the 233 who replied, only 82 said that they did. Only 82. Jesus Christ. Miss Daly had to spend an extra £2,500 to travel to London. Honestly, somebody posted the other day, right, a screenshot of travel it takes to go from like London to Leeds, and it was like £1,000 for like 2 months. In 2 months' time, if you want to go to Leeds, it was like £1,000 on a train. Can you imagine traveling inland on train in the fucking UK and paying anything above 100 quid? Are you insane? Have you seen what our trains look like? They're not even that nice. You're paying 2,000 quid for like, what you call it, a Great Eastern train, essentially. Like, honestly, no thank you. No fucking thank you. It says here, the industry makes it impossible to have a fully qualified to serve afro hair clients, it says. Miss Daly, the need is clear for these clients forced to drive for hours to a salon in Shrewsbury, Shropshire, due to lack of options of afro hair. I have clients from all over the country. My furthest client lives a few miles from Carlisle, so it's about 3.5 hours, maybe longer. Jesus Christ, I want to see what she does. What does she do? What's her fucking name again? What's her name here? Something Daily, right? That's it. Chantel Daily Hair. Let's see if we can find the Instagram. I want to see what kind of standard she's got here. Whoopsie. Chantel Daily Hair. Whoops, not fair. Hair Instagram. Let's see what she's got. I'm really curious to see what type of level. Is that her there? 720 followers. Maybe it's this one. It has to be more now, right? Let's see if this is her. Chantel Daly. No, I don't think that is her. This is someone else. Women travel. Is she on the air? Maybe this is it. There we go. That's the lady though. Let's play this clip. Okay, it's not available. Oh, that is her. That is okay. That was Chantel Daly. My bad. That was Chantel Daly right there. Okay, I thought she had more followers. So that's the lady, right? Curl Boss at Curl Santana. That's the hair that she does. Looks pretty cool to me. Looks really good. Again, nothing special though, based on what I've seen from American clients or from American salons. Nothing too crazy, but she still gets people coming from miles away to come get their hair done. Miles. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool enough, I guess. But big up her. Let's continue on with the article. It says here, Miss Daly said she did not believe industry professionals, people like her, enough, and it was something that she wanted to help change. It makes my passion come even more alive. If I want to see real change, I must highlight the bigger issues. And that is what the colleges don't think about black people. I think it's discrimination. Habiba is a government-recognized organization with set standards for hair and beauty and aesthetic sectors, but they do not have the power to enforce them. The hairdressing industry recognizes 4 main types of hair depending on the texture: straight, wavy, curly, and coily. Coily. The 3 subcategories for each type depending on the diameter and the individual strands of hair: fine, medium, and thick. Afro hair falls under the coolie category. Seeing the demand for Afro hair after finishing her law degree, Adora Lawrence switched careers and became a hairstylist for all types of hair. I started doing hair on the side and realized when I finished uni, I just felt like I liked the whole working for myself, the 27-year-old said. Her own relationship with her hair was, she admitted, not great when she was younger, hating her Afro hair when she was a child. Growing up in Stoke-on-Trent, yeah, could you imagine trying to get your head on Stoke-on-Trent? Could you imagine? Growing up in Stoke-on-Trent, a city with mainly white population, she said she felt alienated with her natural hair as children would touch it and make fun of it. Her family had to travel long distances to get her hair appointment. If a family friend couldn't do it at church, the furthest I traveled was London. Wow, from Stoke-on-Trent. I got it done a few times in Birmingham, but Derby was my go-to. It was not straightforward. It was not straightforward when I was growing up to get it done. Miss Lawrence now advocates for cross-cultural hairstyling. It's not cultural appropriation for white people to wear Afro hairstyles. Exactly. Just as it's not cultural appropriation for black people to wear weaves or straight wigs. Exactly. Thank you, girl. Common sense at last. Black hair is often thicker than white hair, with a tendency towards curls and coils, and it cannot always be styled in the same ways that straight hair can. Hair professionals we spoke to told us it is hard to find courses in order to be qualified to treat Afro hair. The BBC decided to find out just how hard it contacted every hair beauty college in England, who was registered with the government. We asked them if their curriculum offered qualifications covering all 4 hair types. Of the 259 we contacted, 237 replied, and 151 told us they did not teach students how to care for Afro hair. The reasons given for the lack of teaching of Afro hair varies from colleges we approached. Some said awarding bodies which develop and set the curriculum for the qualifications have not updated their guidelines. Others have said that they've asked students to pay more to learn about Afro hair, while some blame the lack of clients with the hair. In some cases, they should have resorted to using Afro hair mannequins due to the lack of real models. But a third of the colleges did say that they are starting investing in training staff to expand their teaching. Jesus Christ. So lack of options, lack of training, lack of demand, lack of everything all around. But I do like that they're trying to push this in the colleges instead of making everybody just learn at home by themselves and figure it out. I like that they're trying to push the standards, and make sure that there's a certain standard across the board. So when people are graduating from college learning how to treat and, do Afro hair, style it, they're going to be of a certain level, I kind of like that. Erica Libbard, her Northampton-based tutor, more than 25 years experience, said that for her, change would begin with open conversations. She was taught Afro hair care in the UK, Ireland, and Middle East, and said the industry needed to move faster in bringing in the changes. She said, will it be done in the next 2 to 10 years, or we'll be talking about this for another 20 years? Miss Libbard said it was not fair for students that they were not taught at all. They were not taught about all types of hair. We're not representing the majority of the community. There's still segregation. There's still an afterthought, and still an undervalued measure of the importance of integration and weaving this throughout the learning. It can give some salon owners and educators the belief that it's okay if they don't do it. Exactly. Big up Erica Libbard there. Joan Scott, the chief executive of Habia, said she was frustrated at the length of time it was taken to see the change, despite the update of the standards in 2021. Quote, it's taking longer than we hoped. We created new standards that reflect the UK diversity. Change is coming, but it'll take time. Of the awarding groups contacted by the BBC, 2 of the biggest explained their positions, said that the updated curriculum and city guilds and courses met the occupational standards but did not specify their hairs were necessary. So yeah, man, I have sympathy for my black sisters out there, bro. My black sisters out there, I have sympathy for you, because it's just as painful, if not more painful, for a black girl that consumes a lot of US content, sees the level of fucking hair treatment, hair care, styles that some of these young girls are getting over there in America from their local places, and then wants to get the exact same level of quality or style here in the UK, and just gets fucked over. Gets fucked over by some person doing private fucking salon stuff in their home, and they're being a bit of a cunt. Getting fucked over by a salon you go to that's been very highly recommended and the service isn't good. Like, just getting fucked over in general, it must be so fucking difficult. So big up all the ladies and fellas out there trying their best to get their hair did, trying their best to get their motherfucking hair did. It's not easy. It's not motherfucking easy. Moving on. Let's talk about Devin Hainey. Let's talk a little bit about Devin Hainey, because for me, this is a very interesting topic regarding what you would do if you broke up with somebody and then you had to return their gifts, or would you make them return the gifts that you gave them during your relationship? On the surface, as an instant reply, I'd say that's some bitch shit. That's some bitch moist shit as a man if you demand gifts back from a woman that you gave them to. I think that's some bitch moist shit. It is what it is. I feel like anything that happens in that relationship, any gifts that were given, whatever it may be, they stay in that relationship. You don't take them back. You know? That's not what you do, because I've always also wondered, if you take them back, what are you going to do with those gifts? Let's say you take back a gift that you gave somebody. The gift is most likely used. What then? Do you sell it? Do you give it to somebody else? It just seems odd. So I personally think you don't do that. If you break up with somebody, you have a clean break. Whatever you gave them during the time you were together, they keep. Whatever they gave you, you keep, and you both go your separate ways. So there's a clean break and you can both move on with your lives. None of this like, oh, give me back this stuff, because it's almost like it also feels like a weird way to kind of control people as well, you know? Like a sly way to control people by asking them to give you back the stuff. No, it's that stuff. How about that thing? Then you're coming over, then you're talking. I mean, like, no. None of that shit. But again, like I said prior, when it comes to the hypotheticals question, I can say all that now, but I guess it's very different when it happens to you. And it also is very different, I imagine, when you're Devin Hainey and you spent, allegedly, you spent over $350,000 in gifts. You know? Because I don't think I've ever spent that much money ever in life, let alone on another person. So I can't imagine how that must be for a guy when you spent that much amount of money. Maybe it changes your perspective, you know, because I can sit here and say you shouldn't take your gift back, but if you spend $350,000 worth of it, it kind of makes it a bit harder, you know. But again, let's continue. This is courtesy of the Daily Mail. Boxer Devin Hainey sues ex-fiancee. By the way, the suing is a bit too much. Demanding you get the stuff back is one thing, but having to take them to court, that's fucking crazy. Taking your ex-fiance to court to get back your belongings is fucking crazy. As a man, I'm going to say something that sounds a little bit pick me and moist as well here. I don't think a guy should ever take their fiance to court, but I also don't have a problem if a woman does it. I'm not going to lie. If a woman takes a, ex-fiance to court, I don't really mind. That's some woman shit. But I don't think men should do it. We should set our own standards for blokes. You know what I mean? Of like, no, you don't do that sort of shit. But if you're, you know what I mean? Especially a man. But what do I know? Let's read the article. Boxer Devin Hainey has sued his ex-fiance for $350,000 in gifts, which she is alleging not returning following the dissolution of their relationship. Hainey and Lena Syed, share a daughter called Chrome. That's even worse, you know? In my opinion, that's even worse. If you guys have a kid together, why are you taking the gift back? That gift can be your kids. That's your family. I mean, like, that's even worse. Maybe if you're single, I understand taking the gift back, but if you have kids, like, come on. You have kids, that person, like, you just let them keep it, man. It is what it is. Hainey and Liana Saeed share a daughter called Chrome, and the 26-year-old is said to have gifted the mother of the child pricey items such as a Hermes bag, Audemars Piguet watches, Chrome Hearts handbag, diamond jewelry, and more while they were together. He's claiming to have suffered more than $500,000 in damages in total. However, according to Los Angeles County lawsuit obtained by the Daily Mail, Saeed is refusing to return the items. It's also alleged that Hainey gave his ex large sums of money during their relationship, which you're meant to do, right? Which you're meant to do. Whereas mine is yours, all that sort of stuff. I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. But why is he giving her money? Number one. No, why is he asking back for the money when he's asking the gifts? It sounds like to me, he might be in a bad place financially. So he's trying to recoup whatever he can recoup. You know? That's what it sounds like. Maybe there's some bills coming up that he can't account for and stuff, and he's getting kind of stressed. That may be the reason, because this doesn't make any sense to me. And since it was Saeed who allegedly ended the relationship, she is required to give the items back under California law. Harvey's lawyers wrote in this document. The Daily Mail has reached out to both Harvey, Hainey, and Saeed lawyers to comment. The lawsuit was first reported by TMZ. According to the lawsuit, Hainey also accused Saeed of assaulting two different women, leaving them both requiring stitches, which Hainey claims to have paid for. So what? Is he taking that money that he paid for those girls' stitches or whatever, or surgery or medical care? Is he taking it out of whatever money that she thinks she's owed? That would be hilarious if true. There's Devin Hainey there on the scales. There's his ex-fiancee. One of those alleged victims was Hainey's personal assistant, who Saeed irrationally accused of being romantically involved with her fiance, the lawsuit said. Saeed, meanwhile, previously accused Hainey of domestic violence. Hainey's latest lawsuit came after he sued Saeed last month over claims of extortion and defamation, while reportedly claimed that Saeed has repeatedly published false and defamatory statements about him. Saeed was granted a temporary bail restraining order in June over alleged domestic violence from Hainey. She accused the boxer of abusing her several times throughout the past year, with the abuse allegedly beginning in February 2024. In that case, she claims that he punched her in the stomach and kicked her out of the home in Las Vegas. Jesus Christ, man. More toxicity. More toxicity. The following December, one alleges that Hainey pushed her while she was 9 months pregnant, because I don't know what else is going on there. 9 months pregnant. Okay, cool. Whatever you say. But in general, my conclusion is this: I don't think you should ever give take back any gifts. Any gifts. That's the L you take. That's the risk of like rolling the dice on love, rolling the dice on relationships. Sometimes it works out, it doesn't work out. It is what it is. You remember the memories and you keep it moving. You know, that's what I'd say. But hey, what do I know? Nothing. Absolutely nada. Moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about this. Courtesy of the BBC. I can't afford to move out of my parents' house due to rising living costs. I cannot afford to move out of my parents' house due to rising living costs, this one person says via the BBC, which I think is fucking horrendous, but again, makes a lot of sense. Leonie Clancy and her boyfriend had saved for several years to be able to move out of their parents' home and into their first rental property together. But 9 months later, all their savings had disappeared on living costs. They both moved back home, and the 21-year-old is now sharing in the bedroom with a 10-year-old sister. Jesus Christ, man. That's what we should be protesting about, right? Not this dumb fucking British and English flag wearing dogos and donuts. What you should be protesting about is stuff like this. Why is this happening to the housing market? Why can no one seem to be able to buy a house instead of a fucking Batman outfit or something on the fucking Tesla site? It's like, come on, bro. Come on. Help us out a bit here. But hey, it continues here. It says Leonie is one of the growing number of young people who now say that it's rising costs of running a home that means they can't afford to buy or rent their own place. notoriety extremes with 9 of the 6 9 of the 10 young adults living with parents in the UK could face cost of nearly half their income if they moved out. Figures from the Property and Finances from the Sky Skipton Group Nugget. While she should get all of them, while she gets on well with her mum and her sister, it doesn't feel like it's my place, she says. It's not great in terms of not being able to see my partner, boyfriend. She wants to fuck, innit? You can't do that at home. Or you can, but it's a bit disrespectful, I think. Not having the life that we had, having to take the massive step back in independence that I had, I just don't think it's fair. 100%. Housing market isn't fair. The housing market isn't fair in the slightest. And the fact that no one over a certain age can buy a house affordably, it's fucking criminal as well. But hey, you know, what can one do? What can one do? Absolutely freaking nada. You get me? Absolutely nada. But here we go. Here we fucking go. Let's move on a little bit, and let's also talk a little bit about this, which I saw courtesy of the Shade Borough. I've been unfortunately blocked by the Shade Borough, right? I've been unfortunately blocked by the Shade Borough for some reason. I don't know why. I did nothing wrong. I did everything correct. Big up DSP, fuck DSP. But I thought this post was interesting because Miss R Fabulous has recently apologized. But I wanted to recently copy this or kind of cover this and talk about it regarding Miss R Fabulous. Miss R Fabulous apologizes for comments about a child and the response to the backlash. So let's play what she originally said. This is the original statement that she put out there that got people all up in a tizzy.
Has this girl got kids?
Yeah, but she's not in her custody.
What? Has someone got a picture of her youth?
In the school room this morning. Why are you chatting shit? Miller!
Has someone got a picture of her youth? Fuck it, I'm not in no talking. Now you just set me off. Send me a picture of her blood clot, Pitney. I'll put a in your child's mouth. Don't fuck with me, bitch. I'm the wrong one. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You're gonna do what? I beg your pardon.
Who the fuck you think you're talking to?
You're gonna put
let me tell you something, yeah? Because I've been quiet.
So you heard that, right? You heard that, right? You heard that, right? You heard that, right? She threatened some random woman's kid on live stream on TikTok. By the way, big up the gingerbread avatars on fucking TikTok. Fucking hilarious. But she threatened. She fucking threatened. Threatened the life of a child. Miss R Fabulous is absolutely the personification of ghetto. Like, I don't know what type of argument you would have with somebody that would make you want to threaten their child like this. Honestly, I don't know what would make you do this. There's nothing that would make me go this crazy. I swear to God. There's nothing that would make me go this crazy. I swear to freaking God. Big up Black American. Thanks for the intro to Demna. That Gucci was fire. Gotta go. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna cover that later as well. But Demna fucking killed it. Big up Black American. I appreciate you for the $2 super chat. Let's move on. So let's play or let's talk about.
Is that your favorite? Oh, and the dumplings.
What she responded to. What did she say? Oh shit! Did I move it? I lost it. Ah, damn! I lost it. Okay, cool. 1 second here. I think I may have lost this thing because I might have been on it for too long. Maybe I was on it for too long. Bear with me 1 second here. Anonymous profile viewer, because I'm not fucking up, because I'm blocked by the Shade Borough, so I can't see what they fucking post, unfortunately. Let's see if I can do this. Does it work? Let's see. Does it work or is it going to be blocked for me now? Because I've been on it for too long. I've been sucking up the freebies for too long. Is it blocked? Can I see it? Ah, I have to sign up. No, I'm not signing up. I ain't signing up for shit. Fuck off. We ain't signing up. Let's just enter it here. Let's see if it works there. We'll do it on another one. Let's do another one. I ain't signing up for shit. I ain't signing up for shit. Okay, nope, that's there. Let's do another one then. Let's do this one. That same thing. Let me do another one. Where's another Insta profile? There we go. Insta profile for free. Let's see if this one works. The Shade Borough. Let's see if this works for me. Bear with me a second here. Nope, wrong way. Is it? It's a Borough. Is that this way? Or is it Borough? Oh, let's see. I think it's like that, right? Bear me a second as this loads. Bear me a second as it loads. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Does it work there? Are we seeing the post or not? Profile. Viewer. Okay, that's a profile, right? Can I see the post, please? Post. There we go. There we go. Finally. Is that it? Okay, there we go. So let's see. Miss R Fabulous responds to the comments. What did she say? What did Miss R Fabulous say? There we go. There's Miss R Fabulous. Can we see her post, please? Is that possible? Can we see it? Or I have to download it? I can't just see it. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, cool. Let me download it then. I guess we'll have to download it then. That's it. What'd she say? What does she say? Ever since I gave birth to my child, someone comes for me or tries to beef me, they come for my child first. Why? That's okay. But when I blood clot respond, it's a problem. Sick and tired of that now. The real supporters out there know how I am. I don't support. What should say here? I don't. The real supporters know out there how I am. I don't trouble people. I stay in my BBC lane and mind my business. But every day, them they are upon me name. Jesus Christ, bro. The grammar. She doesn't get paid on social for her fucking grammar, that's for sure. But every day they pawn me name. They can't stop calling my name. Okay, cool. Whatever that means. And then the next comment on here. Boom. What she also said there. Let's see the other one. The other one is that one. Let's see that one. Now you're acting as if I'm happy or proud with what I said. It was a heat of the moment and I would never do such a thing, but you ain't gonna attack me and speak on my child. I will risk it all for my baby. Cool. It's also innocent. Why is it okay when they do it, but when I do something, it's a huge problem? If you're going to hold one person accountable, you hold everyone accountable. Let's not, I don't know what the other word is here. Let's not do something or something like that. I don't know. By the way, I don't really give a fuck. Let's move on from that one. I get it. She was angry. She was pissed off. She went off the handle. She said she probably regretted saying in the end. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So big up her. Big up her. Big up her. Moving on. Let's talk quickly about United beating Chelsea 2-1. I didn't cover that for some reason. I know it's super late, but here we are regardless. Man United beat Chelsea 2-1 at home. A pretty terrible game, I think, in terms of quality. Very short on quality. The game was kind of over, effectively, in the first 5 minutes. When Mbeumo was put through on goal. Was put through with a chance of goal, not on goal, let's say. And Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, rushed out and didn't get the ball, completely clattered Mbeumo outside the box, and of course got a straight red card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. Now on the replay, and even in real time, I didn't understand why Robert Sanchez did that anyway. It's the first 5 minutes of the game. It's a different thing to do that in the last minute of the game when it's 0-0. I get it. You're better off conceding the free kick outside the box, getting sent off, and the team not being able to score from that, then letting the player have a run on goal, skip past you and put the goal in the net, and obviously your team lose. I think they had more than enough time to try and save that game if you would have left it. Let Mbeumo go on goal, maybe score, maybe not, but you do have 11 players on the pitch. I think that decision to try and clatter or to try and pass the ball or clip the ball away from Mbeumo's path, which he didn't do in time or didn't do with a big enough distance away to show he touched it, because he on the replay close ones it did look like he touched it a bit, was a dumb decision and effectively killed the game. The other thing that killed the game for Chelsea as well was the substitutions. Maresca's substitutions were very strange. I think the Cole Palmer one was allegedly an injury, which is why he went straight down to the tunnel. But taking off Pedro Neto, taking off the other kid, the youngster, I forgot his fucking name, from Brazil, taking off those type of players early on, I personally feel like Esteval, I feel like that kind of killed the game for them, because when you got 10 men, you at least need one outlet when you put the ball forward that can give you an opportunity to maybe score on the counter and cause the other team problems. And considering our lack of confidence, I thought they would have done that. They didn't do that. Here we are. And then, of course, we ended up scoring a pretty decent goal. I felt like within the first half. We needed that, to be fair. We needed that quick goal. We ended up getting a goal from Bruno Fernandes due to a really, I thought, good header from Dogo. Actually, big up Patrick Dogo. I think he played really well that game. And Bruno Fernandes was there on call to stop the ball in the goal. Although the striker probably should have been there. You know, it kind of is what it is. Oh, no, although I think the striker was in line with Bruno Fernandes, but Bruno Fernandes reacted better or quicker. And then the second goal was also a bit of a scrappy one, but again, very much needed because I feel like that 2-goal lead effectively won us the game. I feel like if we didn't have scored that second goal, there could have been a scenario I could see where Chelsea would have drawn or won that game easily in the second half because we were very, very shaky. But we got the second goal courtesy of Casemiro, a really well-taken goal in my personal opinion, when you consider how close it was in terms of the header, when you consider Luke Shaw also jumping up for the header and collecting the ball and passing into the middle of the box. But, of course, United, we don't do things the easy way. And for whatever reason, Casemiro, one of our most experienced players, decides to get a second booking fairly quickly after getting the first one in the first half still by trying to get around and tackle. I think it's Andre Santos or one of those players that came on for Chelsea. Didn't get the ball effectively enough. Ended up getting sent off. A really stupid, dumb, rash decision that really could have cost us the game. And again, goes back to my conclusion, which is like, I'm of twofold. I don't think Ruben Amorim's a great manager or as great as his record at Sporting Lisbon would make him seem as before he came to the club. But I also think these players are failing him in a big way. He cannot account for, you know, players missing chances. He cannot account for one of his most experienced players in Casemiro, who's won a ton of Champions Leagues, doing that error that he did against fucking Chelsea that put us to 10 men that could have cost us the game. He can't account for that. You know, he really can't. Would I like to hear him take more responsibility or ownership for the losses? Of course, but he's a bit of a sore loser. You know, I think all great managers are sore losers. I don't really mind that too much. But in general, the quality of the game was fucking garbage, really fucking bad. And I think for the second half, we mostly hung on, especially with 10v10, because Chelsea looked like they were far the better team in that regard. But we managed to hold on. So onwards and upwards when it comes to fucking United. Onwards and fucking upwards. Talking about not being onwards and upwards, let's talk about Paul Scholes' comments on Rashford. Paul Scholes sat down recently on Nicky Butt's podcast. Or no, it's their podcast they do together, sorry. It's a podcast they do together. Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt and Paddy McGuinness. The podcast name is called The Good, The Bad and The Football. And this comment went viral, where Paul Scholes says that he finds it hard to feel happy for Marcus Rashford's rejuvenation at fucking Barcelona. And the fact that he's got a new lease of life, he's enjoying his football again. He scored that amazing brace over there against Newcastle in the Champions League. And he looks like he's really loving life. And Paul Scholes said for some reason, he cannot feel happy for Marcus Rashford because of how his career kind of ended at United towards the end, especially with Amorim, where he got dropped and obviously loaned out and stuff for his poor attitude or poor application in training. And, you know, Paul Scholes cannot handle the fact that he's now doing well. So this is Paul Scholes' comment that, again, went viral, went crazy on the timeline. People had a lot of things to say about it. I'll play him forward and I'll let you know what I say in the end.
I really struggle to feel happy for him, mainly because of his attitude. His attitude towards Man United, I thought it was disgraceful. The amount of times I saw him at Man United walking, like, because he wants to leave, I thought his whole demeanour about him was a disgrace. And I think he actually quit on Manchester United. And right. Once you quit once, you'll quit again. It was late last night.
Yeah. That was it, last night.
He won't get away with that with Barcelona for long. There's absolutely no chance.
He needs to be self-aware, and he's not a baby no more. He's 27, 28. He's not a kid. He needs to be self-aware about some of the stuff he does and how he projects himself. I thought he was going to come on his show today and go, what about Marcus? What about that goal? I told you this. And then he goes and doesn't turn up for it. He's late for the game.
How can you sleep in these days?
I don't know.
Your phone, fucking alarm, whatever. How do you sleep in?
Yeah. Because he's got that talent that he could still be one of the best players in the world.
Oh, he's definitely got a talent to play.
Them 2 goals.
But he'll never have the mentality in it.
So he's never going to have the mentality to be a top player. Like, Jesus Christ. You think there'd be a lot more like I think these type of comments are okay coming from non-professionals. I feel like if I'm Marcus Rashford, I'm going to take this way more personally, because these are obviously ex-Man United legends, especially someone like a Paul Scholes. But they're coming from ex-professional footballers who know what it takes, who know the sacrifices that need to be made, who knows all the drama, all the fucking, scams and games that run behind the scenes that could affect you in this way. I completely understand how pissed off you would be. And I think if you're a professional footballer or a professional athlete in general, you owe the professionals nowadays a bit of courtesy, a bit of understanding, a bit of a little bit more a little bit more leniency. You give them the benefit of the doubt because you know what it takes to get to that level. You know the skullduggery that goes on behind the scenes. But one of the things I really didn't like about this comment he said about Rashford, obviously the racial undertones are there because at United we have this weird thing where we call them top reds. They're a segment of Man United fans who are very, how do you say? They're very, I would say they're very compliant, right? People call them bootlickers as well. They seem to have no real big issue with the Glazers. They're okay with how we are now as a club. They think that, the level that we're at now is just a normal thing that happens in football and it's a cycle. And eventually, over time, things will just get better. You just got to wait it out a bit and stop being so dramatic and shit. They believe in giving managers time. But they also have a very racial undertone where they seem to not really appreciate or like the international fan base that United has. They kind of call out people who support United, like myself, who aren't from Manchester. They call out people who don't go to the stadium all the time. They call out people who don't unequivocally support the players at all costs, support managers at all costs. Very, very strange. And those type of top reds, I feel like they have it's racial undertones when it comes to criticism because they never seem to have this type of level of smoke for the players such as like Harry Maguire, for the players like Luke Shaw, for players that used to play for us like Phil Jones, right? Like for players who currently play for us like Mason Mount. They don't say those type of things about those players who all are named. Those 4 players are named, especially players like Phil Jones, who for the last 3 years of his United career, he might have played like less than 5 games. Off the top of my head, the last 3 years that Phil Jones was at United, he may have started less than 5 games at United. That's across Champions League, Europa, League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League. I think Phil Jones may have started less than 5 games. That motherfucker literally stole wages. He was a fucking wage thief. He stayed at the club for ages, didn't necessarily ever make a stink about going away or trying to get a loan or trying to get transferred. He collected wages so much to the extent of when he left United or when he kind of didn't get a contract to leave, guess what happened, brothers and sisters? He retired from football. Phil Jones must have made so much money playing at United or not playing at United and being on a fucking bench all the time because he was constantly injured that he retired at like 31, 32 years old. Retired. No more football. And then he was allowed to be at the club, taking his badges. Like, complete piss take, I think, of the club. But a player like Martial, who I think had Phil Jones had a worse injury record than Martial. Martial, I think, created or gave us way more moments as a club. But people hounded out a player like Martial. People hounded out a player like fucking Rashford and his body language. But no one questioned Luke Shaw, persistent injury record. No one questioned Luke Shaw's inability to stay fit, inability to be reliable, non-willingness to lead the club. Nobody called out fucking Harry Maguire and the fact that he's been, in some respects, stealing a living at the club as well. That's the only problem I have with these comments. I'm okay with these comments and this type of level of harshness and this type of critique if it's applied across the board to all of our players, especially the white ones. Because I feel like the white ones, the English ones, they get away with murder at United for some reason. But when it comes to Rashford, when it comes to Sancho, who's on loan, when it comes to a few others, they go on to rip into them. But the white ones get away with fucking murder. That's the only problem I have with this sort of thing. But it is kind of disappointing because, again, Paul Scholes is like someone I kind of loved as a player, one of my favorite United players. And no one can deny the racial undertones of his comment. No one can deny the slight racial undertones of his comment. And, you know, just the harshness of it as well. Like, I can't feel good for a player that's left the club. Like, some fans, I don't necessarily agree with it because, you know, I have a different way of looking at football. But some fans believe in the philosophy of, like, once a player's left your club, you stop talking about them. That's the professional courtesy that they have. I don't really believe it because some players, you know, take the piss. But there are some fans out there that truly believe once a player leaves your club, you should stop talking about them and let them live their lives, which I can understand. Paul Scholes sits there and's like, he can't let go of that period. Now, don't get me wrong. There needs to be an explanation. I would love someone to explain what exactly went on with fucking Marcus Rashford towards the end at United. Because I know Amarin said he's not applying himself in training, that's why he's not playing. But there's a real player there. Why couldn't Rashford perform in training? Why didn't he want to perform in training? What did Amarin see in training that was giving him pause? That's making him think, I can't rely on you. You're not in a squad. You're not in a squad. You're not even on the bench. Like, what was it? What was happening there? Because how he performed against Newcastle gave us, and I think some of you, a reminder of just how great a player he can be. So why couldn't Amarin get a song and tune out of him? Why was Rashford incapable of meeting the standards that were set by the manager? What the fuck was going on there? But that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't fucking happen. We're never going to get the explanation. But I'm happy for Marcus Rashford personally. He looks like he's actually enjoying his football. He's smiling. He's having a great time. He's scoring sensational goals. At the moment, I've heard that there's no guarantee that Barcelona will sign him. I think they're doing that on purpose to keep him, to keep him on his toes. Because recently, as you heard from Paul Scholes, Marcus Rashford kind of shot himself in the foot after all this talk up I've given him. When he turned up to his barber, he turned up a bit late and he turned up with a limp and allegedly got shot at, or whatever. No, still a limp. Sorry, my bad. What am I talking about? Jesus Christ. I'm complaining stories. Allegedly, Marcus Rashford turned up to training late because he overslept. Most likely because he was celebrating the day before because of how he scored and performed. And Hansi Flick has a strict rule at Barcelona where there's no fucking leniency or exceptions made. If you're late for the morning meeting, I think the meeting starts at 9:30 or something, or 9, then you're not in the squad. Simple as that. And I think Marcus Rashford was like late by 3 minutes or something, which is nothing really. But I love that discipline and those rules have been enforced. No one gets special treatment. Everyone gets treated the same. That was fucking great to see. That was great to see. But disappointing to hear that one of my favorite ever players at United, Paul Scholes, is somewhat slightly, very, very slightly, very, very, like a couple sprinkles of salt and pepper, a bit of a racist. Unfortunately, it seems like he's a bit of a racist. Moving on. As I'm sure some of you guys know, Jimmy Kimmel was suspended and banned from his show. Then all of a sudden, 48 hours or so later, he's now been reinstated. The show went up the other day. Loads of drama concerning that. Let's kind of dig a bit deeper into what was going on there. So let's go to the Jimmy Kimmel, or go to the BBC, sorry. It says Jimmy Kimmel show to return after suspension over Charlie Kirk comments. So it says here, goes to the BBC, the US comedian, debatable comedian, the US comedian Jimmy Kimmel will return to the late night talk show on a Tuesday after he was suspended from making jokes relating to the death of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. Disney, which owns the US broadcaster network that airs Jimmy Kimmel Live, said on Monday that it suspended the show because it felt some of the comments were ill-timed, thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached a decision to return on the show on Tuesday. The comic's abrupt suspension came after threats by the federal TV regulator to revoke ABC's broadcast license, sparking nationwide debates over free speech. US President Donald Trump has welcomed Kimmel's suspension, of course he has, and suggested that some TV networks should have their license taken away for negative coverage of the president. Sounds like North Korea, that, doesn't it? Doesn't sound like the United States of America. Sounds like fucking North Korea. Trump did not address Kimmel's reinstatement when the reporter asked about it during the White House event on Monday. Twisters and hit actor Glenn Powell will be Kimmel's guest on Tuesday, according to the show's website. However, Sinclair, the largest ABC affiliate group in the US, said on Monday it would replace the return of Kimmel with a news program across its regional ABC programs. Discussions with ABC are ongoing. Sinclair previously called Kimmel's remarks inappropriate and deeply insensitive at the critical moment of this country and said that it would not lift the suspension. Nexstar Media, one of the biggest owners of TV stations in the US, also said last week it would not air Kimmel's show for the foreseeable future. It has not been yet commented on Kimmel's reinstatement. Critics and the First Amendment advocates railed against ABC's decision. So, obviously, it's been reinstated now. He's come back. Everything's kind of forgiven, I guess, in some respects. But he did call out the anti-American threats to free speech in a Tier 4 TV return. Now, I personally hoped this suspension and this galvanization around fucking Jimmy Kimmel would affect him and cause him to be, funny, interesting, create an actual good, entertaining show. But I watched the clip in full, the full monologue, and it wasn't that. It's still saying boring stuff. I think that ban happened to the wrong person. I think if it would have happened to one of the other late night hosts, I think they would have taken advantage of the situation. Seized the opportunity to actually try to spread more of a message about anti-censorship and just make their show funnier and really kind of stick it to the administration. But with Kimmel, he was already unfunny, widely disliked by most people, but people obviously opposed to the idea that the president would just say, hey, I don't want you on TV because you criticize me or because you're mean. That obviously isn't that's probably going against what everything America kind of stands for when it comes to free speech and shit, right? So I get that side of things. So let's read this article, goes to BBC, regarding what he said when he came back on his show. Jimmy Kimmel calls out anti-American threats to free speech in Tier 4 TV return. He's always crying anyway, to be fair. Jimmy Kimmel's always fucking crying. Name me a time he's not crying. Kimmel, or in the words of Cardi B, gun to your head, name me 5 times Jimmy Kimmel hasn't cried. Bam! Jimmy Kimmel has criticized anti-American threats to free speech during an emotional return to TV on US television, following a brief suspension after his comments about the killing of conservative Charlie Kirk. Through tears, the comedian said on Tuesday's comeback show that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. Good you said that. Let's clear it. Kimmel accused the head of the organization that regulates American TV of mob tactics and poked fun at the president's appearance at the UN, including an escalator mishap. But Tuesday's episode was not available for viewers at all markets due to opposition from local stations affiliated with Kimmel's network ABC. Those broadcasts, which are run by companies Nexstar and Sinclair, reportedly account for about 1 in 5 of ABC's local stations in the US. Kimmel's broadcast was, however, available on streaming sites like Hulu Plus, Live TV, which is owned by ABC's parent company, Disney. Now, some people are suggesting everyone unsubscribing or canceling their membership from Disney Plus was the reason why he got reinstated. I think it was a whole gathering and things, but it also could be the government reversing the decision and saying, hey, let's maybe not do this, because if the left ever do get in power, they're going to seek a lot of revenge. They're going to really go crazy for the revenge. So it's probably for the best that they try to, cooler heads will prevail sort of shit. Obviously, it's not going to work, but, you can always help. Let's continue. Trump, who had welcomed the comedian's suspension, was critical of the reinstatement, writing, I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. Jimmy Kimmel Live had been pulled after his host statements about the shooting of Kirk. In a monologue at the time, the comedian said Trump and his allies were desperately trying to categorize the kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. He also liked Trump's reaction to Kirk's death, to how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish. I love that, by the way. That was a good joke. Kirk was shot and killed. Speaking on Tuesday on program, Kimmel insisted that he had not wanted to blame any specific group for Kirk's murder, but I understand that some of that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. Kimmel praised Erica Kirk for forgiving her husband's alleged killer during a memorial service that was held at the weekend. It was a selfless act of grace that touched me deeply, he said. The comic criticized Trump for calling for the axing of fellow late night hosts, all of whom frequent critics of the president as they riff on the day's biggest news stories. Our leaders celebrate people losing their livelihoods because they can't have a joke, Kimmel said, adding that Trump openly rooting for people to lose their jobs was un-American and dangerous. Yeah, that's a dangerous part of cancel culture, to be fair. But to be fair, the left also did it. Left also participated in a bit of that too. People were losing their jobs, their positions, their fucking whatever, brand deals because they disagreed with the COVID vaccine mandate, or they had opinions, or they had their own point of views. So let's be fair on that. It continues. It says, Our leaders celebrate people's livelihood. Kimmel also is critical of Brendan Carr, the head of the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, which regulates U.S. television. Carr was one of the first to call for Kimmel's suspension. The head of the FCC, honestly, Kimmel's fighting against some fucking powers. He was joined on Hollywood legend Trump, critic Robert De Niro, and we appeared in a skit portraying Carl Kim. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, Carl Kimmen said the FCC is using mob tactics. Okay, fair. Everyone's using mob tactics. The comedian's comeback was praised as celebrity supporters, including star Ben Steiner and Bill Steiner, I guess, or Ben Stiller, who launched a brilliant monologue, was a university applauded. About an hour before showtime, Trump wrote on his social media platforms that he could not believe the ABC had reinstated the comedian, saying that the White House had been told the show was cancelled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. Trump also threatened to test ABC out on this. Jesus Christ. Head of his broadcast dozens of local TV stations in the US, and stations Nexstar and Sinclair were not yet owned by whoever owned it. You get me? So yeah, big up Nexstar, big up them, big up fucking them. Glad to see he's been reinstated. Glad to see Jimmy Kimmel has been reinstated. It really is good to see, because that was fucking wild. And again, it's one of the most like milquetoast, middle of the road insults I think Trump has ever got, and that made him crash out. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. But hey, maybe I'm not meant to understand it. Maybe I'm not meant to understand it. Talking about things I don't understand. Stefon Diggs. Monsieur Stefon Diggs. What the fuck is going on? So, Stefon Diggs, Cardi B's boyfriend now, and rumored baby father, also a professional football player and shit, blah, 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 blah. You know him, you know the name. Stefon Diggs is being accused by this guy called Blake Griffith. I'm not too sure if this guy's related to the basketball player, but regardless, this young man is accusing Cardi B's boyfriend and potential father of her unborn child of being a down low bisexual guy, or a down low gay guy, I guess you'd say. Truly crazy. He sat down with Tasha K, obviously, for an interview, and he described a scenario where him and Stefon Diggs were together, after party type of vibes, going back to his crib, and Stefon was on some demon time shit. He later on ended up abusing and beating up the kid, don't get me wrong, which is why the lawsuits got happening. But Stefon was on some demon time, allegedly, with this guy. So let's play the clip. This is courtesy of Tasha K. Big up blood clot Tasha K. I'll play the clip in full because it's fucking crazy, and you'll hear what he has to say regarding his interaction with Stefon Diggs.
He attempted to have me unalived because of him making a sexual pass at me. It wasn't the sexual pass that frustrated me the most. What made me most frustrated was the fact that he tried to unalive me after it, when in reality, even though I was drugged, even though I was violated, I never thought that the next step would be my life being threatened because you got turned down. But it's that power complex of wanting what you want when you want it, feeling like you own the things that you pay.
Him, I guess, allegedly making a pass at you.
Right.
Like, how did that go?
We used to do dumb things like when we went to the strip club, we would take the jelly beans, swap the bag out. We put them in the Skittles. He's offering me candy. I'm really thinking it's on something like, man, you trying to play with me? No, I don't want to do that. Because we've done it before. And now it's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Man, give me a piece. So he gives me a piece of the candy. And what happened to me after that was not what would have occurred if I ate Hershey's, I'll tell you that.
What do you think it was?
I mean, from the side effects of what I felt, I would say maybe in the realm of like ecstasy infused.
So you were aroused?
I was definitely sexually stimulated in ways that I had never been sexually stimulated before. My skin was sensitive to the touch. My eyes are blue. My pupils were so big, my eyes looked black. And I really couldn't explain why I felt that way. My sex drive was through the roof. I'm trying to really pinpoint, what the fuck did what did I do? Shortly thereafter, we ended up in the car, 2-seater Porsche, just us. And I say that to say it's not a lot of space. He talking to me about all the girls that he got in the house. Now, mind you, I was just at the house earlier, so it is a boatload of girls at the house. It's Spanish.
But he only left with you.
He left with me, but at the house, it might be 20 girls.
And you said they were all Spanish?
Spanish girls that barely even spoke English. I don't know if he's shipping them in, shipping them out. I don't know. I can't speak. I don't know. So he pulls his thing out and just starts doing his thing. And as he's doing his thing, I'm like, yo, bro, settle down. Like, what the fuck, you that horny? Like, you can't get yourself together till you get in the house. And as he's touching on himself and feeling on himself and like talking through what he's about to do when he walk in the house and how pretty much basically saying how horny and sexually stimulated he is in like street lingo. Pulls his man out, starts to play with himself. And I'm telling him, yo, bro, keep your composure. I'm trying to laugh it off because I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why you put that up? Like, what are you doing? And he reach over to me like, man, come on. And he got his thing in his hand. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? And he trying to like laugh and I put that shit up. And he put it up. We get out the car. As we're walking, it's very uncomfortable to talk about. As we're walking toward the door, he put his arm around me and he said, man, come to my room. And he put his, put his tongue in my ear, like doing some weird shit. Walk into the house, spiral staircase leads directly to his bedroom. He goes up the staircase, I make a right. It's a very long hallway. I speed walk down this hallway, damn near run down this hallway, but not like I'm running for my life. I'm trying to keep things low. I go to the bathroom, I'm trying to process my way out. How the fuck do I get out of here? Clearly this is an overstepping boundary. I've never seen him in this light before, but I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, man, you just gonna have to go out here and fight your way out if you have to.
Absolutely insane. I had no idea this was a thing. I had absolutely no idea. It's absolutely wild. Like, God bless Cardi B, innit, right? She went from dating one guy in Offset who she accused of being a serial cheater, an abuser, all this malarkey, right? Then hooks up with this famous, well-liked Stefon Diggs character, a football player, right? That all the girls seem to like, who is, at top of his game and stuff. And he turns out to be, according to this guy, secretly bisexual? Maybe? I don't know. Can you imagine? And he also, if I'm not mistaken, it's been rumored that he also has a bunch of women that he's impregnated who are now having kids at the same time that Cardi may be having kids. So she might be, I think, of the time that her and Cardi are together, allegedly I read online that he's got like 4 baby mums that are like about to pop or recently have given birth. Can you imagine that? What type of luck is that? What type of luck is that? To go from one guy who allegedly cheats to another guy who does on like a whole other scale. Absolutely insane situation. And yeah, how do you really make sense of this? How do you really make sense? One thing that was interesting about this was that Cardi B and JT were going back and forth on the timeline, arguing and stuff and calling each other out. And essentially Cardi B and JT's beef whittled down to them both arguing about who has the gayer boyfriend. Whose boyfriend is more gay? That's what it whittled down to, which is like a wild exchange to have with somebody, right? Like, you and your guy share handbags. JT to Cardi B. Well, at least my man doesn't fuck dudes, That's the back and forth they're having. Like, huh? What the fuck is going on right now? What in the homophobia? Like, what the fuck? But I remember this story. With this kid, and I'm prone to believe it because you remember like a couple of years ago that this story leaked. You guys remember this? This story here leaked. You guys remember this story? This one here. Where is it? I don't have it. Is that one there? No, I don't have it. Damn, where is it? There we go, that story there. Do you guys remember this story? Courtesy of the Neighborhood Talk. It says, musician Christopher Blake Griffith calls out the brother of NFL player Stefon Diggs for allegedly ordering men to attack him in an elevator and steal his fashions. This goof tried to end my life because I thought I was a Chrome Hearts lick. So let's play this. This kind of shows you what happened. And if I remember correctly, there was footage of him getting beaten up in the lift by Stefon Diggs' brother. And I think he was getting beaten up off the back of him allegedly turning down Stefon Diggs' sexual advances. This goes to the Neighborhood Talk. It says Chris Griffith goes post screenshots detailing how he let y'all favorite athletes lease his style and they left him for dead, and screenshots of the items that were stolen during the elevator attack. And this is him getting attacked in the elevator. There's no sound, but you can see him there. That's the Christopher guy with his back to the door. And those are, I think, Stefon Diggs' brother and his friends. Stefon Diggs' brother comes into a lift. Chris is in the lift, the victim. And then you see them beating him up in the lift. Putting hands and feet on the kid. So I'm prone to believe, and they try to drag him out of the lift, right? I'm prone to believe what happened is true. Honestly, I'm prone to believe it was true. Because I remember this shit going viral at first. I remember it's going viral. Them beating up this kid, I'm assuming, for what went down allegedly in the car. Fucking crazy, isn't it? Crazy situation. And most likely, right? Most likely, the really funny bit about this whole situation is, most likely, I don't think Cardi B will end up breaking up with Stefon Diggs. There will be no breakup. They're going to be together for a long time. And most likely, the reason why is because the guy looks cute. The guy is good looking. That's essentially the reason why. Like, good looking dudes get away with murder, bro. You get away with like, it's bad. Like, regular guys like you and I, right, or the people watching, we don't even get away with, I don't know, liking somebody's picture online. This guy could allegedly be secretly gay the whole fucking time, and no woman's gonna leave him because, number one, he's an NFL football star, and number two, they think he looks good. In clothes, out of clothes. That's the whole reason why he's going to be perfectly fine. And they're probably going to stay together. They'll probably end up having more kids. It's absolutely insane when you think about it. It really is insane. But big up Stefon Diggs. Big up blood clot Stefon Diggs. Because Stefon Diggs be digging. That's one thing we know. Stefon Diggs be fucking digging. Let's just say that. He be digging. Going back. Let's talk about Gucci. Demna's debut at Gucci. Now, I was mistaken. It's my fault. I thought this show that Demna did for Gucci would be a runway show. I thought we'd get the whole shebang with a runway, location, music, DJ, the whole thing. We didn't. Instead, we got a presentation. We got pictures. We also got an amazing movie directed by Spike Jonze, starring a lot of fucking big Hollywood actors that they screened the other day. It's available now on the Gucci channel. It's like 30 minutes long, a mini movie that to me reminds me of like the Tom Ford era at Gucci, or not Tom Ford era when he did A Single Man. Because I think when Tom Ford put out A Single Man, I don't think he was at Gucci. I think at that point he was designing for his namesake brand, Tom Ford. But A Single Man is one of the best movies I ever watched back in the day. I remember getting very inspired and very passionate and very interested, and I used to love Tom Ford. I used to watch every single interview Tom Ford did during his end of Tom Ford era at Gucci, and also during the beginning of stage when he set up his own namesake brand. And A Single Man, in my opinion, kind of encapsulated, it gave you a peek into it transported you into the world that Tom Ford wanted to create with his clothes. And I think Demna's doing the same thing. He's obviously inspired and taking reference from a lot of the work that Tom Ford did at Gucci when he was there. And you're seeing it from some of the things that are in this runway collection, or in this first collection he did for Gucci for spring 2026. I saw a couple pieces like the shirts, like the fucking, like some of the heels, some of the jackets and coats and stuff. Really fucking great work in my personal opinion. And one thing that's really interesting about this debut from Demna is how understated it is. And it goes back to what the early guesses were. There were some early guesses that people were making that he was going to make his debut themed around or going into the archive and pulling from Tom Ford's era at Gucci. And he also gave an interview when he left Balenciaga that it was a completely different sort of aesthetic he was going for. He was not going to carry over the same thing they did at Balenciaga into fucking Gucci. In the same way that maybe Hedi Slimane does when he goes from different house to house. It's just like the Hedi Slimane look. He was going to do what Demna actually does, but he was going to obviously take inspiration from some of the codes of Gucci and, of course, some of the archives of the previous designers. So I think he did a great job, personally. I think he did a great job. And I also was a really big fan of some of the archetype stuff. I've always been a big fan of that stuff. He did it with Vetements. He did it with Balenciaga, where essentially he designs for like an archetype, like an avatar of somebody, like the security guard, the cool kid, the it girl, and he kind of frames, or he kind of, you know, ideates, I guess, different sort of pieces for that one person, a look head to toe. It's maybe it's an easy way to design, instead of designing a whole, instead of having a theme and then trying to figure out different outfits or different looks for the theme. He just thinks of one person in his head, and then obviously is able to design a Gucci piece relating to that one person in fucking Gucci, and obviously taking a peek of the archive pieces. So let's take a look at some of the runway collection. But I thought it was really well done, in my personal opinion. I thought it was really fucking well done. It starts off first with some trunk luggage here. It says here, le artichipo, right? You get there with some trunk, with some Gucci branded, Gucci monogram trunks here with really nice and really shiny gold hardware. I'm assuming that's all probably very real. Loads of different carats. The first look in terms of a fashions there again, you get this lady, and what is she? What's her name here? Bear with me a second as I read it. Incazata. What does Incazata mean? Let's see if I type this one into Google. Zaata in English. What does that mean? Come on, brother, type with me here. In English, Incazata means pissed off, allegedly. So this lady's pissed off. That's the archetype she's going for, a pissed off young woman. So you got this, you got the babushka scarf that, you know, is familiar and very associated with Demna. You got the big glasses, you got the lovely coat in red, you got the Gucci monogram buttons. Those buttons are really cool, by the way. I ain't mad at those buttons in the slightest. Those double G buttons, the handbag, the leather gloves, très chic, très chic. Although it's not French anymore, you know, it's Italian, but hey, we'll continue. Look number 2. You have Direttore, which I'm assuming is director. Direttore, which is director, I'm assuming. The tailoring on this suit is gorgeous. I love the baggy, slouchy look. What's still tailored, like the jacket looks like it fits like a glove, but then the pants are slightly baggy without being too crazy. And there's also some very cool looking derby shoes, like Oxford brogues, standard Oxford brogues there we got going on. I ain't mad at that in the slightest. Some aviator sunglasses and a really big chunky silver watch there. I wonder if we're gonna get more of that with Gucci, because Gucci do sell a lot of watches, don't they? I remember that was a thing back in the day, people buying Gucci watches from fucking Selfridges. So I wonder if we're going to get more watches from Demna at Gucci. We didn't really get many watches at Balenciaga or even at Vetements in general. So I wonder if we're going to get a lot more jewelry, a lot more. No, he does jewelry. He did jewelry at Balenciaga. To be fair, there was a lot of jewelry, but I wonder if he's going to start doing a lot of watches as well going forward. I ain't mad at that. Then we have, this is the outfit I saw what's her fucking name? Gwyneth Paltrow wearing. She looked incredible in this outfit. Gwyneth Paltrow killed this look. La VIP. It's an entire outfit with Gucci monogram in that brown color. You got this really nice skirt that goes over the knees. You got thigh-high boots underneath. All the same color. Really fucking nice. It's like camel brown type of color and material. And of course the blonde models, I think, kind of gives it a look. It just kind of tones it all in. This is what they do usually on runways with, you know, one tone. I wouldn't want to wear something like this because it make you look like you're naked as well from afar. But god damn it, I ain't mad at that. And I also ain't mad at the double G earrings, double G emblems everywhere. There's almost, oh wow, look at that. There's like a double G dog chain. That's a nice little touch, isn't it? That's an interesting little touch there. That's a very sophisticated, grown-up look from this woman that he's kind of done in this look, right, for La VIP. But then the person also has this like BDSM raver aesthetic, like dog chain around their neck. That's a really cool idea. I love that clash. I'm not gonna lie, I love that clash. And the boots have the boots as well, classic boots. No crazy thing else, because usually Demna is very good at doing flips on the stiletto. So on the actual heel itself, he will make it like in the shape of a big lighter, in the shape of a lighter, in the shape of a pen, in the shape of a pencil, in the shape of a fucking comb. But this is just a classic, you know, heel that looks like it's done in gold. So I'm mad at that, actually. That's a That's a cool little change there from Demna. And then we've got another look here. Who's this one? This is Pisantoni. One of my favorite looks actually with the Gucci loafers there. What does Pisantoni mean? Let's see. What's that? How do you say that? Pesantoni. Is that peasant? Pesantoni or Pesantono? Pesanton is heavyweight. Really? Pesanton is heavyweight. Okay. I wonder why he called this caricature, this archetype, heavyweight. Maybe because the guy isn't a heavyweight. It's a guy wearing an all black outfit. It looks like a silk linen shirt, very loosely buttoned, hardly buttoned. You can see his whole entire chest essentially going down to his belly button, arms crossed, and that belt. Ooh, the fucking the loafer link on the belt is such a great look there. And then you got obviously distressed Gucci loafers. It's like a flip on the regular Gucci. I don't know if they're sandals or slippers or the actual loafers. I don't know if the back is actually out and exposed, but the trousers are dragging all over the floor though. It's a different type of a Gucci loafer. You know, Gucci loafers you're used to are usually like, they kind of look like a GH Bass penny loafers, but these are a little bit more distressed. They have more of an elongated toe. They kind of remind me of like a Martin Rose aesthetic when it comes to footwear. Very square, very long, very distressed. So a very different type of look. This bag seems to be the bag that they're really pushing. The bag with the N sort of shape, the arch shape on the handbag itself, on the strap. I ain't mad at that in the slightest either. Another look here. This is Eriditira. I'm assuming it's editor. I'm assuming this is probably an editor from a fashion magazine type of look I'm seeing here. Again, that the G monogram earrings and dog collar chain holding the coat, the fake fur coat that's dragging along the floor. I ain't mad at that at all. And again, the handbag there in kind of faux croc skin leather as well is not too shabby. Oh, another one of my favorite looks actually. Nerd. Look at the loafers, man. Honestly, I actually like that shape. It's really odd. It almost gives the Gucci loafers like a duck shape. And I wonder, right, looking at the toe box, I wonder if the shape of the shoe is weird in design-wise. Demna sort of like designed the shoe shape where the front of the shoe, your toes are probably not reach the front. It's just an elongated design to kind of make them look longer than they actually are. Maybe your toes actually don't reach the front, you know? That's what I'm kind of seeing from here. And again, more slouchy pants, tailored to perfection. Another detail again with the chain link there. The horse, I forgot what the actual what it's called, but that buckle is also on the pockets. Oh, look at that. The stripe on that jumper is superb. I love the crop as well on the jumper, exposing a bit of the undershirt. It kind of reminds me of my favorite Prada collection. I guess it's from like, was it 2007 or something? 2017? 2007? I think 2007 or 2017. Full winter Prada collection where they have these shrunken up jumpers with the fucking shirt popping up underneath and the cuffs as well extended out from the outside. Extended out from the end of the sleeves. Oh, this leather jacket is gorgeous. Don't know what that material is, but that leather jacket is gorgeous. Really big sunglasses, of course, what we're used to when it comes to Demna's stuff. What's that in the background actually? What's that thing hanging down? Oh, it's another bag as well. A smaller bag. Again, we're talking like pink Pantress bag over the shoulder, under the armpit type of affair. This one is a Milanese, which is, I guess, a word for someone that's from Milan. Oh, this fur jacket as well is beautiful. The heels, the stiletto heels. Wow, that black leather, that contrast with the black leather with the gold heel is superb. And also there's a chain that goes around the jacket as well. Not mad at that at all. This look reminds me of David Beckham. The whole kind of look as well, style, aesthetic, it's kind of giving David Beckham, you know? David Beckham, Victoria Beckham, what's that? Early 2000s sort of look as well, which kind of, you know, I think relates as well to Tom Ford's era at Gucci, probably around the same time, millennial Y2K type of look. But this model's giving, David Beckham for sure, especially with the exposed tattoo, the aviators, the shaved head that Beckham was going for back then. The double G on the belt buckle as well. It's a fucking great look. Those are going to be very popular, by the way. And then again, we're seeing more loafers as well. We love to see that. Now, Narcisista, which is narcissist, I think. I'm not mad at that at all. I ain't mad at that one at all. Narcissista's fucking hilarious. And then we've got another one here that says Gallerista, which is gallerist. Not mad at that as well. A full suit look, the pant legs. Oh, look at the tailoring on the pant legs. Just the right length to kind of make sure that pant doesn't drag along the floor, doesn't drag along the ground. You can't be mad at that. You can't be fucking mad at that. And also, I'm not too mad as well at the. Oh, look at that. I guess that's probably a vintage one too, I would assume, right? Let me reference to that too. There's a handbag here with an amazing wooden strap handle. Very interesting design. There's a fastener that's also made out of wood, and the handle's also made out of bits of wood connected together. Not mad at that at all. Not mad at that at all. And you still got that same dog collar BDM aesthetic kind of chain going on there as well. One of my favorite looks is this one actually. This look here is called introverso, which I'm assuming is introvert. The shape of the jeans, the loafers, the loafer belt buckle on the belt above the pocket or below the pockets. There's also this amazing leather jacket that looks like it's sprayed on. Looks like it's fucking sprayed on and amazing. The quality of it. Wow, 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 wow. I ain't mad at that in the slightest. I ain't mad at that in the slightest. Then we do a couple more. Close dive, and then we'll kind of skip through the rest of them. What is this one? This one is Secura. Secura? What's that? Is that secretary? How do you spell Sciura? Secura. Is that sawdust? Really? It says it's sawdust here. No, not Corsican. I need Italian person. Give me Italian. Let's see. What does it say in Italian? It says sawdust in Corsican, but I need it in Italian. What does Secura mean? Italian to English, if you don't mind. Please translate. What's that? What's that? Sciura. Huh. It's not telling me what it is for some reason. Okay. I have no idea why. Cura. What is it saying? Let me know. Sciura. Okay. It's not saying why, but hey, it's still great. That blue on that coat, that jacket is superb. God damn, bro. God damn. Usually these jackets with the fur, what you call it, lapel, whatever, they usually come in like camel. It's usually like a camel suede thing. But this suede jacket is in blue. And it's got these puffy sort of like top of the shoulder thing going on there. Oh, the construction of that is gorgeous. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I ain't mad at that. Let's quickly flip through the other looks to get through them. Again, look at those loafers. You can't go wrong. All camo print on the same loafers we saw prior. That jumper looks fucking sensational. We ain't gonna talk too much about that knitwear. Oh, this all croc look as well. This all croc look. I saw somebody wearing this on the fucking on the entry to watch the fucking premiere. What's it on? La Cativita. La Cativa. What is a La Cativa? Let's see what La Cativa says on Google Translate. La Cativa. La Cativa is like the bad one. Okay, the bad one, the bad girl. Okay, fair play. I ain't mad at that. I'm assuming this is fake. It's not probably real, right? It looks like crocodile skin leather on the boots, crocodile skin leather on the skirt, crocodile skin leather on the jacket. Oof. And on the bag as well. Balling. But I'd love to know how much that look cost. I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to know how much it cost. Okay, we got that one out. Let's go through the other ones. Great trench bag. Again, that jacket is fucking sensational in look number 17. As are the jeans. There's trainers, by the way. I was surprised to see trainers. I thought he would make sure to keep away from that and just start anew with no streetwear, but we did see some trainers. I don't think we saw a hoodie. I'll double check, but I don't think there was a hoodie. But there is some trainers. There is some footwear. You got these white sneakers, which look pretty cool. I saw a picture of Netspend. Big up the rapper Netspend. He wore a pair. You can see the side. They kind of look like Stan Smith court shoes and stuff. Maybe they're taken from the archive. I'm not too sure. But they have a little Gucci emblem. They have a little Gucci emblem on the front of the toe. And there's also, if I'm not mistaken, there's on the side of them, there's the Gucci band, the print thing with the green and the red. The green on one side, the green and the green stripes going, you know, on the outside of the red stripe. That kind of monogram print thing they got going on there, on the side of the sneakers. So again, I quite like them. I'm not gonna lie, I quite like them. They're very low, very slim profile. They probably end up being $1 million fucking bucks, but I quite like them. I also love the bag and the jeans. No, can't go wrong with that. Great jeans again. There's some flip flops. This kind of looks like Dapper Dan to me, to be fair. This whole entire looks give me Dapper Dan. From the jacket, I think the jacket's even a members only shape, or it's like an old 80s shape, I'm pretty sure. But obviously they've made it with different materialing. But yeah, it's giving me, oh look, see the back. Yeah, so I think those loafers I was talking about, I don't mean there's a back. I think you're meant to slip your feet in them like this. That's an interesting design, isn't it? I've not seen someone do heels like that. Like kitten heels, but the back is foldable, slippable, collapsible. Very, very clever design there. Another one of my favorite looks I saw on the runway, or I saw before the premiere of the show, the premiere of the cinema show, was this look here. This look here with the see-through pants and the see-through top. Woo! Androgino, I guess it's meant to be androgynous. But yeah, this looks amazing, absolutely amazing. Maybe we should have got that. I forgot that name of the model. There was a really famous androgynous model from back in the day, blonde hair. I'm not sure if he's around or if he passed away, or he, she around. I don't know what their pronouns are, but that guy was amazing. That person was amazing. Such a great model. I wonder if he's ever gonna come back. And then we got Alex Costani. I forgot what her name is again. Alex something. The one of the main models at the moment. La Bomba, wearing this amazing lion print, cheetah print faux fur jacket thing that is cropped with massive shoulders, funnel neck, glasses in hand, Gucci bag on the arm, the heels. Oof, you can't go wrong really. Sensational work there. Sensational work. This was one of my favorite too. Look, number 23. I think this was all like sparkles, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was all like glittery and sparkly. I saw one of the models wearing this as well. I think it's also kind of a see-through kind of design as well. You can't go wrong with that one. And then we got a few more as well. But yeah, great stuff from Gucci, man. I mean, great stuff from Demna at Gucci. He killed it. I'm not going to lie. Surprisingly, very, very, I guess, proper. Not a lot of streetwear. Very kind of dinner-worthy, gala-worthy, red carpet-worthy looks. And again, a lot of great stuff to kind of build on. So big up Demna, big up Bloodclot Demna. I love him going through the archives and giving us Tom Ford Gucci in 2025 and beyond. And I can't wait to see what he does going forward. I can't wait to see what he does going forward. Big up Bloodclot Demna. Big up Bloodclot Demna. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 949. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. If it's your first time tuning into the show, make sure to like the stream down below. Like the stream down below if you're watching it via the stream. If you're watching it via the podcast app, of course, leave me a 5-star review. That will be much appreciated. For those of you listening to the show via the podcast app, you'll hear my tune today. My tune today, of course, is going to come from the Cardi B album that I spent a lot of time reviewing and breaking down. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should be using my time more wisely, but regardless, the song that I liked most from the Cardi B album is going to be Pick It Up featuring Selena Gomez. I think that should be one of the singles. It's a fucking great track. Very fun, very poppy, very bright, whatever. You know, I love it. So make sure you check it out. That should be playing with my voice. But if you're watching via the video YouTube thing, you're just going to fade to black, unfortunately, because I cannot play it for copyright blocks. But thank you for tuning in regardless. I love and appreciate you all. Smash a like, hit subscribe. Link for all me is down below in the link tree down below, and I'll see the rest of you guys later for a random show. But for now, take care. Bye. Peace.